And I believe Nathan is already on. So Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Cool, cool, cool. Super excited to be here. Just caught the very end of that
Nice.
last session.
Oh, great. Yeah, no, Kelly's awesome. I mean, I've been so excited. Thank you for coming on board for this upcoming session. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've given this talk a few times and it changes a little bit every single time, but it's one of my favorites to do just because there's some new ideas. We talk a lot about testing, a lot about data and optimization and yeah, how to like really practically find new donors online, which is more, I think, more relevant now than
Oh,
ever in a
yeah.
lot of organizations. So.
I know. It's been such a crazy time where a lot of organizations that we chat with are like, I don't I don't know how you acquire new donors right now.
For
It
sure.
it seems like fighting an uphill battle, but I mean, I think like Kelly was saying, I think peer-to-peer fundraising is one of those donor acquisition tools, but there's also so many other ways that you can like really optimize digital fundraising so that you can
Absolutely.
acquire more donors. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's gonna be a fun chat. I guess my question of the day, because we have a mixology class happening later, what is your favorite cocktail or
Ooh.
drink?
That's a great question. I just had a friend send me a text the other night saying like, "Hey, I'm getting really into like cocktail making. I heard like you're kind of a pro at it. I'm not a pro at it." And it's
Maybe
just
you could lead our mixology class next time.
well, I mean, it'd be fine, but I'm certainly not a pro. One of my favorite go-to cocktail, an easy go-to cocktail is just a Gold Rush, which is I use bourbon, lemon, and honey syrup. That's just really nice. I like whiskey. I like whiskey cocktails a lot, and just yeah, the extra little sweetness and the lemon it's nice.
Ooh, that is nice. That's simple too. It's nice to have something easy.
Yeah, easy to make
Um,
at home. So that's a go-to for sure.
yeah. I feel like my one of my go-tos is like I really like tequila, so I do a Paloma. It's
Okay.
literally just grapefruit juice and tequila. But
Yeah.
it's great.
Also an easy one and super tasty.
A little sweet, but you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, no, I'm it's been a fun summit. So yeah, you're coming in. We did all day yesterday and then had a bunch of sessions starting at 9 a.m. We kind of kicked it off today. So
Okay.
it's
Very
been
cool.
it's been good. People that are still with us they're hanging in there. They're doing a good job. So
It's always amazing to me. Look, this it looks like there's about 400 people in. That's awesome. That's
yeah, that's
when we
great.
do webinars and things like that, I'm always amazed by how long people will stick around just to ask questions. Like we're slated
Hmm.
for an hour, but we'll go like an hour 20 plus. We just Q&A time. And that's some of the best time that we spend. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, we love we do a lot of webinars too. And we always have just like such great questions. This whole time there's been such great questions and we can't even get to all of them and I want to. There's just not
Right,
enough time in the
right.
day. um it's getting to be about 3 o'clock, so I'm gonna start it off. So you are all about to enjoy this amazing session called The Mystical Secret for Turning Free Content into Valuable Donors by Nathan Hill from NextAfter. Nathan Hill is the managing director at NextAfter, which is a fundraising consultancy, research lab, and institute on a mission to unleash generosity. He's worked with both large and small nonprofits, and understands the day-to-day challenges of running a nonprofit programs while also having to manage all of the other things you have to do. So he's trained hundreds of nonprofit marketers and fundraisers in proven online strategies. And you can really, I'll just kick it off to you so that you can get started with the session. And you're all about to hear from Nathan Hill. So thank you so much for joining us.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen here so we can get these slides going. Again, my name is Nathan Hill. I'm the marketing director here at NextAfter. And it's not lost on me like how much time that you have to take away from your normal day-to-day work to just devote yourself to 2 days of training and learning how to grow your fundraising and your marketing and improve your nonprofit and all of that. So super grateful for your time. I'm gonna try to not waste a moment of it. So let's jump right in. We're gonna talk about the mystical secret for turning free content into valuable donors. And again, this is a super fun presentation for me because we get to talk about some weird stuff like this, like alchemy. I'm not sure how many of you know really what alchemy is, but it in short is this medieval idea that you can take these 4 key ingredients, water, fire, earth and air, and you can basically create anything from it. If you get them in the right combinations, under the right circumstances, and the right amounts, you can create anything in the entire universe. That's at least the operating theory. Some of the goals of these medieval alchemists, number one was to create this elixir of life, which doesn't really exist, but in theory it would give you like immortality or like infinite youth, something like that. And another common goal was to, again, get these different ingredients in the right amounts, under the right circumstances, maybe applying some heat, getting them to the right temperature, and you can create the most valuable material at the time, which was gold. That was one of the common goals. Now we look back at this idea today through our modern 2020 lens and think this is just insane. Like this is the behavior of an insane person. But it also is kind of the foundation of what is modern day chemistry, which is the only way that you and I are able to talk to each other today. It's how everything on your desk in front of you even exists. It's foundational for everything. Now, as fundraisers, we can often feel like these alchemists because we have all these different ingredients at our disposal, from blogs to ebooks to Facebook advertising. We have different channels like email, we have phone calls, we have Google advertising and organic social and direct mail, and oh, there's so many things that we have. And our goal is to try to figure out, how do we get these things in the right combination, in the right amounts? How do we get the right creative and the right design and the right copy and the right targeting and the right audience, all these things in the right order to lead to donations. And in our case today, talking about how do we lead to a new donor. Now, many of you have probably tried something like this. I have tried something like this at the organization I used to work for before coming to NextAfter. And the idea is you get your targeting right on Facebook, if you're running Facebook ads, and maybe you have a nice video or a nice image, you tell a little story and you ask someone to donate. And that's the ultimate hope, is you're gonna acquire new donors that way. You lead them straight to a donation page, but the common experience is this. You don't see any donations from this type of strategy. For 99% of fundraisers, I know there's like the 1% who like you're in the right vertical at the right time with the right people and you can make it work. 99% of fundraisers can't and have the same type of experience. What's probably worse is if you see like one donation come through and then you say like, yes, we're finally getting somewhere. And then you let your ads run for another week and you spend a bunch more money and then you still only have the one donation. This is the common experience for fundraisers. This doesn't really work. Now at NextAfter, we're obsessed with testing, we're obsessed with research and optimization. And so we feel like these alchemists, where we're trying to get the right copy and the right creative and the right targeting and line up all these different ingredients through testing and optimization. Again, we feel like these alchemists trying to lead to what is most valuable to us, which is a new donor. And the solution that we've landed on and been testing over the past several years sounds a little bit crazy if you've never seen it put into action. And it all has to do with this idea of the power of free. Now, there's a guy named Dan Ariely. He wrote a book called Predictably Irrational. And in that book, he outlines this experiment. Maybe you're familiar with it. In short, here's kind of what he was testing. So on a college campus, you're walking through the hallway, you have the opportunity to either drop in a cent and you can pick up a Hershey's Kiss, or you can drop in a quarter and a penny for 26 cents and you get the superior chocolate, which is the Lindt truffle. And what he wanted to see in this initial experiment was, it basically is one more popular than the other. And ultimately what he saw was, letting this experiment run, there was really no difference in consumption between the Hershey's Kiss, that was 1 cent, and the 26-cent Lindt truffle. No measurable, detectable difference. And then he made one change. Now each chocolate has now decreased by 1 cent in terms of the cost. And he was wondering if now by making the Hershey's Kiss free, does that have kind of a psychological impact? Is it gonna lead to more people taking the Hershey's Kiss, even though the change in value or the change in cost is exactly the same? And the result of this iteration of the experiment was that 90% of people now took the Hershey's Kiss. And he concluded through this experiment and a few other iterations of it, that people want free stuff, which you probably intrinsically know, but now he proved it through data and science and experimentation. And you're probably saying like, cool, what on earth does this have to do with getting more donors and more donations? So let me tell you a quick story about the Texas State Historical Association. They, a few years ago, back in like 2014, 2015, you see it on the book, on the image in front of you, they had produced the Texas Almanac. Now, it was a CD. Remember CDs? They existed back in 2014. You could get the CD of the Texas Almanac for $19.95. They produced this resource, thought it'd be great for their people, their target audience, who are interested in Texas history. And after marketing it, they sold about 15 units for less than $300 in total revenue. If you think about it, it costs more than that to produce this type of resource in terms of actual cost investment and time and labor and all of that stuff, as well as the marketing and the promotion behind it. Actually producing physical CDs costs way more than $300. So they're not bringing in enough money to even offset their costs in a significant way, let alone fuel the organization and what they're trying to accomplish. Well, we had this idea and said, well, what if you give it away for free? And again, if you've never seen this model in action, it feels like, well, why would we give it away for free? That's insane. We spent so much time and effort and money in producing this thing, and now you want us to just give it away. Why would we do that? But here's what happened. It's no longer a CD, it's now a PDF download. You can get it for free. You come to the landing page. They had 61,000 visitors to the landing page. Almost 17,000 people actually gave their email address to download the PDF of the Texas Almanac. 258 of those people became a new member or a new donor to the TSHA at a $53 average gift size, which led to $13,000 in new member revenue. Now let's have a little bit of fun with math. This is my favorite slide. $13,000 is in fact greater than $299, which we can sort of conclude then that a free offer could actually be more effective and more valuable for acquiring new donors than a paid product. It can have a bigger impact on our bottom line. And that is the foundation for what we're going to talk through the rest of our time together today, the free content to valuable donor model. Now, again, talking about alchemy, we're talking about these different ingredients that we need to build the most valuable thing. And there's 4 key ingredients that you need. You need an email offer, you need advertising, you need a landing page, and you need an instant donation page. And you have to get them in the right order. So advertising is really just any form of traffic. You might be paying for it through Facebook. Maybe you have the Google grant and you have some like the $10,000 in free Google advertising once a month. You're using that to drive traffic. Maybe you're sending an email to your file. Maybe you've got a banner on your website, some form of traffic driving people to a landing page. On that landing page, they can read about your free offer, in this case, an ebook, and they can fill out the form on the landing page to download the ebook. But instead of just sending them a download on the next page, you're actually going to send it to them via email. And then instead of a typical confirmation page that just says, like, thanks, maybe share this on Facebook, you're actually going to pivot towards a donation ask using an instant donation page that has a donation form on the page. And we're going to break down these different elements so you can see what these look like, how you actually can put this model together to lead towards new donors for your organization. But let's compare and contrast. Remember, we said version A, in this case, really leads to about 0 donations. But version B actually leads to an infinite percent increase in donations because you can consistently, efficiently, and effectively lead to new donors using this model. So here's where we're going. We're going to look at how you can conjure an email offer out of thin air. Number 2, how you can enchant your landing page with optimization. And then number 3, how you can craft an instant donation page to charm new donors. Let's conjure an email offer. Let's define it first so we're on the same page. It's something of value that your audience is willing to trade their email address for. And I'm going to highlight the word value for a particular reason. I have 3 email addresses. I have my work email address, I have my personal email address, and I have the one email address that I use to like sign up for random contests and junk where I don't really want anything that they're going to send me. I want to win this free thing. And so everything they send is probably going to go to spam and I'm never going to check this email address. That one has the least amount of value to me. But my work address and my personal email address have a significant amount of value to me, and I'm not just going to give them away to anything and everyone. So even within my email addresses, there's different tiers of value. We have to understand that when we're giving someone something for free, there is a value exchange. Your email has value, so what we're giving them has to have more value than what they're giving us. Now, there's a few different examples I'll throw out here that you can use for an email offer, one being an ebook. This is really just a PDF download. Number 2, being a quiz. This is really a way to test your potential donors' knowledge about a particular topic or subject or maybe program that your organization offers. A petition, pretty straightforward. You read about a certain topic that your organization supports or stands for, and you're inviting someone to actually sign their name to that petition. Or something as in-depth as an online course. Maybe it takes a few weeks to go through a series of videos and text-based lessons and maybe there's even homework and quizzes and review. An online course is a way for someone to really sink in deep into your organization, into a particular issue, understand it, and get something of value in return. But the common thread through all of these is that you have to require an email address in order to access the free offer. Now, a couple rules. Number 1, your email offer needs to be for your ideal donor. We're not trying to reach the entire globe and everybody in the universe with some universal offer. You want to have some type of free email offer that's for your ideal donor, people that have a likelihood of giving to you because they have shared values and are invested in your cause in some way. But number two, this is maybe the harder one, the more common one to make a mistake in, is that your email offer has to be relevant to you. Let's break this down. This is a really common email offer. I've seen this run all over the place, particularly with broadcast organizations and things like that, but all over the place, people offer different things like a free cruise, or maybe win this free contest, sign up for this thing, you could be the winner of a Visa gift card, whatever it is. There's a problem with this offer because even though it's going to attract a lot of people, maybe you get 10,000 people to sign up to win a free cruise. This is a terrible offer because at the end of the day, only one person wins. Or maybe like 5 people win, but whatever. If you have 10,000 people that sign up and only one winner, then 9,999 of the people that signed up take no next step action with you. They've given you their garbage email address to sign up for a free contest, and there's nothing that's taken place to draw them into your organization and understand why you exist and why they might invest their money with you to impact a particular cause. So this is not a good offer. We have to bridge the gap between what our donor thinks is valuable and something that can actually draw them into our organization. Interestingly enough, what you put into an offer has an effect on what you get back from it. So because we run these types of things for different organizations all the time, there's a lot of data that we can look at in the aggregate and see what has the highest potential of leading to a new donor. A petition takes about 10 seconds to interact with. You read through the petition page, you say like, yes or no, do I stand with this or not? If you do, you fill out the form, submit, done deal, you're gone. We see donor conversion rates with this type of offer as high as 0.33%, which is not very high. An ebook takes a little bit more time to invest in. You've got to download it, and then you've got to read through the ebook, and you read about the content and all of that stuff. And we see donor conversion rates as high as about 3.1%, which is better. An online course, which takes maybe up to 8 weeks to actually go through, it's a significant investment of time and mental energy, can lead to upwards of a 6% donor conversion rate. Now, obviously, it takes a lot more work to produce an online course, but an ebook is right in the sweet spot. It doesn't take a lot of work for you to produce something like an ebook, but it has a pretty high potential of leading to new donors down the road. And the best news is that you probably have all the content that you need already to produce an ebook. Some common places to look for existing content that you can repurpose into an ebook. Do you have a blog? If so, maybe you can take 10 related blog posts to a particular topic, and that's the foundation and all of the copy that you need for your ebook. Even something like a video. Maybe you can't copy and paste a video into a book, but what you can do is transcribe the audio, and then you have the basis of copy for a book. Same thing with a podcast. Oftentimes there's great interviews and conversations that can be the basis of a book. Stories of impact, if you're producing an annual report and you've got stories in there, those can be pulled out and used and recycled as ebook content. Same with news or articles. If you're covering a particular topic and giving updates about a cause going on in a particular part of the world, you can grab some of those articles, turn it into valuable content that your donor can then digest via an ebook. One example is an organization called Heartlight that took existing blogs and existing podcast interviews and produced an entire ebook that they're running right now in order to acquire new email addresses and ultimately lead to new donors. So you can do this too. A few tools that you can have in your back pocket to help you put this type of offer together. Rev.com, super fast, super cheap, super easy to use to just transcribe audio and turn it into copy. If you want to look like a pro designer, even if you have no design skills, use canva.com, help you put a book cover together as well as any other graphics that you need. And then literally, if you need help with anything else related to design or editing or copy editing or layout, go to fiverr.com. Everything starts at $5 and goes up from there. So just some tools for you to have in your back pocket as you put these together. That's a lot about an offer. There's way more we could talk about, but hopefully that gives you some clues and some ideas on how to take next steps to create an offer for your ideal donor. Let's look at the landing page because we have to understand the details of the landing page and the instant donation page in order to make this type of model work. So how do you make a landing page work? Let's make sure we're all on the same page about what a landing page is. This is an example of a landing page on our own site. It's a page where you can download a worksheet to help you with your subject lines. It just looks like this. There's a headline, there's copy, there's an image of what the actual offer looks like. There's this cool brain graphic that I'm really proud of and I really like. And then at the bottom, there's a form you can fill out to download the worksheet. Plain and simple as that. That's a landing page. Now, what you see on your screen is our landing page template, where we've poured over our library of over 2,500 online fundraising experiments to pull out what we can learn to give us a better starting place for an email acquisition landing page. So everything on the left and right side of your screens is an A/B test outlining what works and what doesn't to actually increase conversion on a page. It tells us what we should include, what we shouldn't include, how we can manipulate the different elements to lead to an increase in conversion. We do not have time to go through every single experiment today. We could spend the next 24 hours trying to go through them, and we'd still have more to cover. But what I'm going to give you is 4 specific shortcuts to improving your landing page, starting with the main message, which is really the all-encompassing message that someone walks away with after reading your page. What we want to do, what you want to do to increase conversion is communicate clearly both what someone is going to get and how they're going to get it. We have to keep those 2 things in tandem, what they get, how they get it. We want to take people from this moment of like maybe slight confusion, what am I looking at? What's this offer? To this abundance of clarity. Like, oh, I get it. I get it. And we can control the headline, the body text, the call to action header, and the call to action button in order to improve clarity. You see these on your screen here. Let's look at an experiment related to the headline. We'll just look at one experiment for each of these. Know that there's a lot more experiments that go into these different ideas, but we only have time to go through a few today. So the headline. In version A, it says, get expert policy analysis from some of the nation's most trusted authorities. Version B, it says, get expert analysis in your inbox each morning. And you might think version A feels like it packs in a bit more value. There's more words. Maybe it's a bit more clear or authoritative. But what version B does is it talks about what you're going to get, which is expert analysis, and how you're going to get it in your inbox. You know it's going to be an email, and you now know the frequency that it's going to come every single morning. I have an abundance of clarity through version B, what I'm going to get and how I'm going to get it. And what they saw was a 6% increase in emails acquired by just being more clear in the headline. So be clear in your headline. Let's look at the body text. This is actually an example from our own marketing as one of our own landing pages, where last year we were offering this benchmark report. We're putting together a new online fundraising benchmark report, and we're asking people to send us 3 key metrics. And on this page, we outlined what those metrics were, why they were important, how they can be used to influence revenue, and it got really, really detailed. Version B, we took out a lot of those in the weeds, in-depth details. You see there's still a lot of copy on the page. It thoroughly explained the value proposition or why someone should get this offer, but it didn't get lost in the details. You see the side by side and just the length of the page. By not getting lost in the details, by being more succinct with the intention of being more clear, it actually led to a 110% increase in emails acquired. So don't get too lost in the weeds, but make sure you provide enough copy to thoroughly explain why someone should get your free offer. Number 3, the call to action header. We have to actually ask people to take an action. We can't assume that they know why the form is there. We can't assume that they're going to take a next step even after reading about the offer. We actually have to ask them to take an action. This is one of my favorite experiments in our library because it shows the power of 6 words and a question mark. Version A has no call to action. There's copy on the page. This is from the National Breast Cancer Foundation. There's copy on the page talking about 3 steps to early detection, a guide from NBCF, and then there's a form. Version B is the exact same copy, exact same offer, but it says, where can we send your guide? And it led to a 100% increase in email signups because it did a couple of things. Number 1, it justified why the form is there. Number 2, it made it abundantly clear what you're going to get and how you're going to get it, because they need to know where to send it, and they're asking for your email. So you know that it's going to come in an email, you know where to expect it, you know how you're going to get it, and now there's even more clarity about what I'm getting, and it led to this major increase in email signups. So call people to action in a clear way. Finally, the call to action button. How can we be more clear here? We don't want to just say submit or register because that sounds like work. You want to do your best to increase the feeling of value, even on something as simple as the submit button. So you can say, get the free thing, send me the daily devotional, which they've done in this case. But the most underutilized part of your landing page is the little white space underneath the call to action button. So in version B, what they said was, we take privacy seriously and we hate spam, so we'll carefully protect your email address. That's put right under the quote unquote submit button. What this is doing, once you've worked through a form and you've put in your information into a form, this button is the point of no return. This is where all the alarm bells start to go off in your head about, okay, what information am I giving them? Are they going to email me? Am I going to like what they're going to email me? Are they going to sell my email address? Are they going to spam me? All these alarms start going off, these points of anxiety that could lead you to abandoning the process altogether. So addressing those points of anxiety right when they come up at the button actually led to a 49% increase in email signups. So consider how you can use the space underneath your button to address those points of anxiety and increase the perceived value of the offer. Just some ideas for increasing clarity. Let's look at design. And we're gonna look at really just one experiment that kind of illustrates this main point, which is our design shouldn't distract people and it shouldn't misdirect people. It needs to lead people through a logical conversation because we really are having a conversation just through a digital medium. Our design needs to walk people through that conversation in a logical way. Version A looks like this landing page template we've been talking about. There's a lot of copy. But it starts with a subheadline, has a main headline, you got a couple paragraphs, you've got some bullet points, and you've got the form at the bottom. Version B looks like the typical landing page template that might come up if you just Google search landing page template, or if you're using a landing page builder tool like something like Unbounce. This is a common template that you're going to see, where you've got the logo header and everything, then you've got a headline in the middle. It says download your free Civil War ebook. Then there's this big hero image, and your eye tends to go straight down the center of the page with that centered text, and you see this big free for a limited time icon, and then it's heavily weighted on the right side and your eyes drawn to the form. Now, at the point of the form, you're being asked to decide, do you want this offer or not? And all that I know is that it's a free ebook. I have no other real reasons why I should download it. I don't have enough information to make a well-educated decision about should I download this thing? Is it gonna be valuable to me? Am I gonna like what I'm gonna get? Because all that valuable copy is below the form. And this is what it led to, a 19% decrease in emails because the thought sequence was out of order. We have to explain with our copy why someone should get the offer before we actually show them the form and ask them to make a decision. That's really the key point of your landing page design. But what information do you actually ask for when you actually get to the form? What's effective, what's impactful, how many fields? We'll talk about a little bit of that. The main rule is that we want to request only what's necessary and only what's perceived as necessary. Here's an example. This is a sign-up form for an online course. And you don't need to see the whole landing page to understand what's going on here because the main change was in the form. In version A, there's a key word here. It's an online course, but version A is asking for your mailing address. You've got first name, last name, all the address information, email, password. But why do I need to give you my mailing address if it's an online course? Is it really an online course? Are you gonna mail me like a companion piece or companion guide? Or is it like a write-in, like mail-in correspondence course? Like, I don't know, why do you need my address? In version B, they removed all the address info, and this is what they saw. 9% increase in email acquisition because there's less work required on the form, and they're setting the proper expectation as to what information is actually needed. If it's an online course, you don't need my mailing address. You just need my email and need to set a password. That led to this increase. So consider what form fields are being perceived as necessary by the people on your page. Now, this organization took this a step further. So in version A, they're asking for first, last, email, and zip code. I don't know why they're asking for zip code, but story for another day. Version B, they've removed first name and last name. And what they saw was a 48% increase in conversion rate, which is huge. Like, they have solved the puzzle, they have solved the problem, they've found the magical secret to leading to more emails, which is just don't ask for anything. But there's a problem, because it's important to begin any relationship, whether it's in person or online via an email, in a personal way. And this experiment, you can see in version A of the email, it jumps right into the copy at the beginning of October. Version B has the same exact copy, but it says, hi, Jeff. Hi, first name, because they asked for the first name and they can call their potential donor by name. And it led to a 270% increase in clicks. Is this important? If it's important to you, then you probably need to ask for the first name. It can be okay to add more friction now if it means that you can provide more value and more personalization later on in the relationship. Now, number 4, supporting content. How can you improve the page? This isn't about how can you, dive deeper into why the offer is valuable, but how can you actually increase potency and influence on the page? So we're going to look at a couple examples. Number 1 is just this bandwagon effect using social proof. So this is from a petition page. This is just the header. And in version A, they had their logo and nothing else in the header. In version B, they had their logo, and then they had the number of people that had signed the petition, 191,000 signatures. And this was like an active counter. So you could see immediately when you come to the page, like, people care about this. And I'm joining this community that cares about this petition and what they're standing for. And what it led to was an 8.4% increase in email signups. It doesn't more fully explain the petition or why this particular issue is important, it just adds a little bit of potency to the tune of an 8.4% increase in emails. Here's another interesting example. Again, this looks like this typical landing page we've been talking about. You've got a headline, you've got the copy explaining why you should get the offer, you've got a call to action, and then you have the form. In version B, instead of just this picture of what the ebook looked like, they actually put a real person, Dora, holding a printed version of the book saying, this is invaluable information. She's not giving a thorough explanation of, a breakdown of everything you're going to learn in the book. She's just saying this is valuable. It's invaluable information, implying that you need it. And by having someone else advocate on their behalf, getting this third-party credibility, it actually led to a 15% increase in email acquisition. It just added a little bit more influence on the page. There's a whole lot more that we've learned about these pages. If you want to dive deeper, you can get this template, nextafter.com/email-acquisition. Get the full template and see 13 different elements you can use on your landing page. We're going to move forward and talk about the instant donation page, because this is probably the easiest place to get hung up. We can understand offers, we can understand landing pages, but this, if there's one new thing here for you, it's likely this section. What do you do with an instant donation page? Ultimately, what it does is it can turn your email campaign from a loss leader into a profit generator. Now, if those terms aren't familiar to you, a loss leader campaign is something where you're investing money upfront, in our case, acquiring an email, in the hopes that down the road, they're going to turn into revenue. They're going to turn into a valuable donor. But what an instant donation page can do is turn that loss leader campaign into revenue for your organization right away. It can help you recover some of the costs of your advertising. And in the best case scenario, organizations that are using this model and have effective offers running are actually bringing in more money through the instant donation page than they're spending on advertising, which means they're ROI positive on acquiring new donors. They're making money, bringing in positive donations as they're acquiring new donors, which is really significant. And this could work for your organization as well. But how does it convince people to donate? Because we do not want this to feel like a bait and switch, and we'll talk about that. Here's what's happening. Someone has just downloaded a free offer. We're going to say it's an ebook. They've just gotten this ebook. It's valuable to them. They know it's valuable to them. The offer exchange has already happened, and there's a feeling of gratitude because you just gave them something of value for free. And then we have this moment of opportunity to pivot that feeling of gratitude into a moment and an act of generosity via a donation. And that's what the goal of the instant donation page is. Again, similar to the landing page, there is so much that we can talk about. There's so many experiments that have gone into designing this instant donation page. We do not have time to talk about every single experiment, but I'm going to give you 4 different ways that it's actually different from your main donation page. You probably have a decent understanding of what should go on your main donation page, so we'll look at how this one is a little bit different, using 4 key differences. Number 1 is the intro message. This is where it's super important to help someone understand that this isn't a bait and switch. What we want to do is you want to confirm receipt of the free offer quickly, right away. Here's an example. In both versions of this experiment, right away they say, congratulations, you are now enrolled in the I Still Do online course. And so immediately you know that there is no more work that I have to do to actually activate this course. I don't have to give a donation to activate this course. You've already confirmed you are enrolled. I'm done. Now let's talk about something else. Let's move on to the donation ask. That's what comes next. So we want to be really quick right away to help people understand all the work you need to put in to get this free offer is already done. Now the difference in these two is interesting because in bullet point 1, 2, and 3, they're talking about what happens next with the course, kind of transactional stuff. You're going to get this stuff in your email, and then each week for the next 3 weeks, you're going to receive another email with these lessons, and then after you finish, here's what's going to happen. It's all like transactional type of stuff. Version B talks about what happens next in these first 2 sentences, and then everything else that follows is about the donation ask. So spending a lot less time talking about what happens next, pivoting to the donation ask faster, and what they saw was a 165% increase in donations. So you don't have to write a giant story about what happens next with the course. You need to say, yes, you're done, you've got it, let's move on. Let's look at the main message. How do you actually make the donation ask? Because this is critical. And what we want to do is make the donation ask in the context of the offer that they just received, in the context of what just came before. This is my daughter. Her name is Malia. She's 3 years old, and she loves, obviously, the color pink. I think it's the only color. Pink and purple are the only colors that exist in her world. But she loves the movies, Frozen and Frozen 2. She's obsessed with Elsa and Anna and Olaf and that whole world. which is why Listerine puts Elsa and Anna and Olaf on their bottle, because they know that it's something that she values, and we're going to be more likely to buy the frozen Listerine than the regular Listerine. They're making the sale in the context of something we already value, or at least Malia values. And we can do the same thing on our instant donation pages. It's interesting. So in version A, I'll highlight a couple things for you. At the very top, they're talking about what happens next in the course. And at the bottom, they're making a donation ask, but they're basically saying, if you donate, we'll give you this companion guide. So it's kind of about the course that you just signed up for, but it's about something else. Version B spends a little bit less time talking about what actually happens next, and then spends the rest of the page talking about how you can reach more people with this free offer that you just received, how you can reach more people and make an impact on a cause you care about by helping more people take this course. Do you see and feel the difference there? They're making the donation ask in the context of the offer they just signed up for. And by doing so, they saw a 164% increase in donations. There has to be continuity between the offer and the donation ask. We have to make it in context. Now, it's possible to go into too much detail, similar to what we saw on the email acquisition page. This is an instant donation page from AlleyCat Allies. This follows a petition. So after you filled out the petition, you come to this instant donation page. And on the left, this is like the long form page. They went into a lot of detail about why you should donate, why getting more people to sign this petition is going to make an impact. You see the length of the page versus version B. Version B is still long. There's still a lot of copy, a thorough amount of copy to make the argument as to why I should give to you rather than some other organization or not at all. It's the fundamental value proposition question. More on that some other time. But they answer the value proposition question thoroughly, but they don't get lost in the details. They don't get too lost in the weeds. And what they saw by not being overly detailed was a 14% increase in donations. They shortened the copy, were more succinct for the sake of being more clear, and it led to an increase. Let's talk about the inline premium. Should you include a premium on one of these pages? And one rule I want to give you is that you should avoid threshold-driven incentives. What on earth does that mean? We're trying to avoid this feeling like, but wait, there's more. We don't want it to feel like some sort of monetary transaction where we're bargaining to get the next best thing. In version A, it's just a standard instant donation page. You can see the copy right there. Version B, same copy, except now at the end, you see it says special offer. For a gift of $75 or more, you can get this companion guide. That's the threshold. You have to give at a certain amount in order to get the premium. Now, what this commonly does is increase average gift size, which is what they saw in this case, 53% increase in average gift. But our goal isn't necessarily to increase average gift in this type of a campaign. We're trying to get more new donors. And it led to a 34% decrease in donations. So be careful with using this type of offer if you're trying to acquire new donors. It might actually lead to less donations and maybe even less revenue overall. Finally, let's look at donation selection. And that's just another way to say gift array. Let's look at the gift array. What do you do with a gift array? Ultimately, the guiding principle behind a gift array is you want to give people guidance on what amount of a gift is valuable. Now, if you're similar to me, you've probably ordered a lot of DoorDash, maybe way too much DoorDash over the past 4 or 5 months. And when I first started using DoorDash just a couple of years ago, I was uncertain, should I even tip? Who does the tip go to? Isn't some of that just covered in the delivery fees? Like, I don't really know. I don't really have enough information to understand how much I should tip. But they've been testing their way to improving their communication about how much you should tip, even testing dollar amounts versus percentages. And now it says 100% goes to your dasher, and you start to understand a clearer picture and a clearer expectation of what amount of a tip is valuable and who it goes to. There's an abundance of clarity now because the expectation has been set. And we want to do the same thing with our gift array. If we use something like an open form field, this can actually be effective on your main donation page because there's a level of familiarity with you. You have people returning to give another gift. You have people that have a level of familiarity with your organization and trust already. And if you have a higher than average gift size, this can actually be a really effective tool. But on the instant donation page, you have to use a gift array because these people are, by and large, new to your organization. They don't know you intimately. There needs to be a level of expectation setting through the gift array as to how much of a gift is impactful and valuable. That's what your gift array does. And what this led to was a 34% increase in donations by using a gift array instead of using an open form field. Again, there's so much more that we could talk about. This actually led to a 16% decrease in average gift which is to be expected. An open form field often increases average gift, but again, we're trying to lead towards new donors in this campaign. There's a lot more we could talk about related to the instant donation page. You can get the full template. I think there's maybe 18 different things on this template that you can pack in, include things to exclude on your instant donation page, ways to improve it, optimize it, lead to better results. You can grab that at nextafter.com/instant-page. Let's wrap up and review a couple key things. Number one, if you're conjuring an email offer, you're putting your email offer together, what you need to remember is that it has to be valuable to your ideal donor, but it also has to be relevant to you. So no free cruises. Number two, you want to enchant your landing page with optimization. You want to communicate what they're going to get and how they're going to get it. Abundantly communicate those two things with clarity. And then number three, craft an instant donation page. You want to remember to make your donation ask in the context of the free offer that they just received. Now, this might be scary if this is all brand new to you and you're saying like, how on earth do I even start? Like, where do I even begin? This is so many things. I want to encourage you that it does not have to be perfect on the first try. The organization I used to work at, I had actually watched a NextAfter webinar, this is 4.5 years ago, that was talking about the instant donation page. And so we set up this campaign where we had recurring donors that had already given a gift during a major fundraising campaign that we were running. They'd already given a gift, and we wanted to send them a free CD. It's a broadcast organization. We're going to send them a free CD as a thank you for your gift. But what we decided to do was actually have them fill out a form. We sent them an email, went to a landing page where they had to fill out a form to request the free gift and really just tell us where to send it. And then on the confirmation page, the intent was to have an instant donation page where you can make an additional gift in support of this campaign that's going on. But we didn't have the infrastructure set up to put a donation page on that page. So then we had an instant donation page with a bunch of copy and then a button that went to another page that had different copy with a different call to action, but actually had a donation form on the page. It was convoluted and it was a mess. But what it led to was enough revenue to cover all of our retention marketing costs for these recurring donors, even though it was a mess. So what I want to encourage you to do is don't live in your fears and feel like you have to get everything perfect, but take a step forward, because that one step forward is going to make a difference, and you can keep taking steps forward to ultimately put something robust together like this campaign that we're talking about. So don't worry if it's not perfect on the first try. If you want to dive deeper and understand how Facebook advertising plays into this whole methodology, look at some different experiments about how to improve your advertising, you can check out nextafter.com/fb-ebook. You can get this free ebook called Turning Likes into Donors. And finally, coming up at the end of September, we have our own summit as well. It's also entirely free. It's 2 days, 16 plus speakers. We have some really cool, really exciting speakers, including Dan Pallotta, Jen Shang, Brian Miller, Reggie Rivers, lots of interesting speakers. It's going to be a blast. And it's free. You can get your free ticket to NEO Summit at niosummit.com for more data-driven, research-backed fundraising ideas. Now, I think we have an opportunity for some Q&A.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nathan, for going over all those really data-driven insights. I think everyone has been really engaged and very interested in all these findings.
Cool.
One of the questions that keeps coming up is if you will be willing to share your slides with the audience in like a follow-up email that we'll send out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know there were some links in there. I know they were moving fast, so I'm more than happy to share those slides, and you can grab those.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Nathan. I've tried to keep up with the links as you've been shouting them out in the chat. And then, yeah, so one of the questions is, just like really, what is NextAfter?
Well, I intentionally don't talk about it up front because there's so much we could get through in our time together. But in short, NextAfter is three things. We're a consultancy, we're a research lab, and we're a training institute. So on the consultancy side, we work with organizations to consult on online fundraising. The research lab, we're conducting tons of A/B tests with the clients that we work with to understand what actually works to increase online fundraising revenue and giving and generosity. But we're also looking at the nonprofit marketplace to see, and we've tested these things and proven them to work, but our organizations using these tested and proven strategies in their actual fundraising. So trying to take the pulse of the marketplace and produce research studies. And then on the institute side of things, the NextAfter Institute is our training arm. So we offer things like webinars and blogs and different tools and resources for free, but then we have a certification program as well to get certified in things like email fundraising, donation pages, landing pages, et cetera.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So there's a lot of other questions to get to. And so one of the questions, there's so many, if you also want to take a look at the
Oh,
Q&A
sure.
and the chat pane, feel free. Um, Jamil asks, any specific suggestions of types of topics to create content offers around? Of course, this will vary per organization, but anything other than ebook or checklist that you have in mind as well as content offers?
Sure. Well, as far as like types of offers, an ebook is going to be one of the easiest to produce with the biggest like bang for your buck, if you will. You'll see the most value for the amount of work you have to put into to create it. As far as topics go, there's, and I don't know your in your specific situation. One thing that I've found is especially if you don't have existing blogs that you can easily repurpose, you likely have something. The best place to look is really on the program side of your organization, because you're likely doing really cool work on the program side, implementing new ideas to impact your cause, you improve people's lives, whatever the cause is. There's likely good content there that you can help someone understand the cause in a deeper way, understand how they can, even without donating, maybe make a difference, or at least be more educated about it, and understand what you and your organization are doing to impact that cause. So feel free to shoot me an email, nathan@nextafter.com, if you want to talk about more specifics. I'm happy to do that with you. But yeah, hard to say specifically like what topic when I don't know the exact organization.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, so someone asked it's like their first time trying to create content. So for someone that's creating an ebook for the first time, how would they actually go about it? Like, are there any suggested tools or anything that you would suggest for when they're creating their ebook?
Sure. Honestly, when we put ebooks together, whether it's for NextAfter or it's for a client we work with, we create a Word doc, and if you're using blog posts, grab your blog posts, paste them in there, put some headers on there, get the formatting right. And then we use Fiverr all the time. You can pay $5 or $10 and you can get somebody to design a cover for you. In many cases, you could pay $20 and have them do a full layout for you just based on a Word document. And they're going to give you a design file back, and they're going to give you a PDF. So in the span of 24 hours, sometimes less, you can have an entire ebook just by grabbing some blog posts and putting them in a Word doc. So that's the easiest way to go about it. And then you can put those on your landing pages and offer them for download.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to overthink that process and feel like we've got to spend a good month and get this whole team together to figure out what should we talk about and get the copy exactly right. But I'd encourage you to err more on the side of efficiency and getting things done and taking that first step, as opposed to erring on the side of perfection.
Yeah. And John also asked, for an effective ebook, what's an effective page count? 12 pages to 100? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, something that's, I see that question here. Something that's 200 pages is probably too much. What we found even in our own like training materials is we like to produce these big research studies that are 100 pages and they're available for download, but how on earth do you sort through a 100-page PDF? Maybe makes more sense if you've got a physical book, but I'd keep it more between like the 10 to 20 page count, especially if you're producing a book that's like 10 reasons why X, Y, and Z. Maybe you've got 10 pages with 10 different topics, 10 different categories that you're explaining. So just make it simple, make it easy to understand, easy to page through and skim through and digest the information.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, great. An anonymous attendee asks, should you create a new landing page each time you have one of these new content guides, or is there a way around it? Another question that kind of ties in is like, where do you actually build these landing pages?
For sure.
And does it have an impact on SEO? Sorry, I know that's like 3 questions in one, but.
You should create a different landing page for each resource. You should have a unique instant donation page to follow up each landing page. I know that sounds like a lot of work, especially if you have an IT team that you have to rely on. Sometimes that can just make things take forever. There are a lot of really great tools that empower you as the fundraiser or you as the marketer to put these things together. One that we swear by and use all the time in everything and have built whole websites on it, even though you shouldn't, is Unbounce. Unbounce.com, you can sign up for it, even take a free trial to see what it's like. But it's a hands-on visual builder. You can build your landing page. You can tie it to your own domain. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff on there, capture leads, lead to confirmation pages. So it empowers you as a fundraiser to be in control of your own landing page creation and makes it really easy. So check out Unbounce for sure.
Yeah, and just to follow up, because you're like, oh, unique donation pages in coordination with all of that. Cosvox helps you really easily set up donation pages that you can embed on any site. So
Perfect.
you can like basically spin a donation page up in like 15 minutes. That's unique. Yeah, if you're interested in learning more about donation pages, happy to chat about that as well.
That's perfect. It's all
Um,
about finding those quick, easy hacks to just tie these different pieces together. That seems like that's the hardest part of just marketing and fundraising is how do you get these different things to talk to each other? So that's
Yeah,
perfect.
no, absolutely. And it's just once you have those easy tools, then you have the model to do it again and create more content that drives more
100%. Yeah.
signups, more emails, and all of that. So, no, that's great. So, let's see. Someone asked, there was a question about, a museum that was interested in maybe offering different types of content. I think it was in the chat somewhere. So if they want to chat in that question again, it was interesting, but I can't find it. And then let's see. Oh, Erin, could you use the same tactic with registration for free tours at a museum? Would you consider free content as well? And would you consider that free content as well and following these online registration with an instant donation page?
That's an interesting question. I can't speak specifically to like an organization or a museum that we've worked with and seen that implemented, but it sounds like a viable strategy. I mean, most of the time that we're talking about this, we're talking about content marketing and content offers. But I could see potentially a free tour being something of significant value. Granted, we want to test everything because we want to know exactly what works and what doesn't. But I would imagine you could have a scenario where the value isn't really experienced until you take that free tour. So if you've just signed up for it, you may not feel like you've gotten something of value yet. So it may not provoke that same level of gratitude that you can lead towards a donation. But it would be really interesting if you tested something like that. And I'd be curious to see your results.
Yeah, that would be really interesting to test and check out how that works. And I'd love to hear as well
For sure.
what the results have been. So a couple of questions that have come in. So once you get someone to give in their email for their offer, should you continue emailing them?
Oh, I see that question here from Kristen.
There's also a couple similar ones in the chat as well.
Okay, I see from Kristen. I think this one is kind of interesting. Like the comment about taking privacy seriously.
Oh,
It was from the one experiment we looked at where you can actually insert some copy below the button. And yes, it's okay to email them. You should have an opt-in. And I don't know if you're in the States or where you're at. Obviously, rules that are around data are a little bit looser in the States as opposed to Canada or elsewhere. But if someone has downloaded an ebook type of offer from you, that there's an implied opt-in. Granted, you can also put a checkbox on there to get a direct, explicit opt-in to email communication. And that gives you full permission to continue to email this person. Granted, you shouldn't send them spammy content. You should send them quality content that's going to cultivate a relationship for sure. Otherwise, they're going to opt out or mark you as spam or something like that. So make sure you're sending them quality content, but you have full permission and full right at that point to email them.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. I think that is most of the questions. I'm sure it's not all of them. Any last questions that anyone wants to chat in quick here, feel free, but I think we're going to be wrapping up our time here in just a minute. So yeah, Nathan, any final closing remarks, call to actions to drive people towards?
Well, as far as call to actions go, we'd love for you to check out NEO Summit, niosummit.com. You can get a free ticket for that at the end of September. But just final words, I just reiterate, please don't be afraid to just take a step forward. I know some of this stuff can feel overwhelming and complicated, especially if it's your first time trying to implement new online fundraising ideas. Many of us are trying to figure out, well, all my events are canceled, all my in-person meetings are becoming virtual. How do I do something online? Don't be afraid to take a next step forward. But take a step forward, start getting some data to understand what's working, what's not, and then continue to optimize from there.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for being here today. This has been a very insightful, very tactical session. So I really appreciate all the insights that you've shared, and awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you later, Nathan.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.